You ever spend your whole life breaking your back for someone, only for them to turn around, spit on your sacrifices, and laugh at you in front of strangers? That's what happened to me. And the one who did it was my own daughter. But she forgot one thing. I'm the man who raised her. And I wasn't about to let her bury me alive. My name's Frank Miller, I'm 68 years old, retired after 40 years in an Ohio factory. Most mornings I sit on my porch with a black coffee, listening to church bells ring across town. The photos on my wall remind me of a life built on sacrifice. I thought family meant loyalty, until recently. My daughter, Rebecca, she's 38 now, smart, ambitious, polished in a way I never was. I worked double shifts, ruined my knees, missed birthdays just to put her through college. Every overtime dollar went into her future. I told myself, she'll have the life I never could. But somewhere along the way, Rebecca stopped looking at me like her father. To her, I became an old man stuck in the past. One night, she came over with that sharp tone she gets when she's already decided something. "Dad," she said, "I need you to sign over your savings account as collateral. It's just paperwork, you wouldn't understand the details." I asked, "Rebecca, are you sure this is safe?" She rolled her eyes. "Nobody does loyalty anymore, Dad. You're too old to get how business works now." The words cut deeper than she realized. Too old, invisible, disposable. I sat there quietly, staring at the daughter I raised, realizing she saw me as nothing more than a stepping stone. But she had no idea. I was listening, watching, waiting, and I wasn't about to be her pawn. Rebecca invited me to a dinner with her colleagues at a fancy downtown restaurant. I thought maybe it was her way of including me, letting me share in her success. But I was wrong. In front of her business partners, she introduced me not as her father, but as a man too simple to understand modern success, but supportive enough to stay out of the way. They laughed, she laughed, and I just sat there, gripping my cane, forcing myself not to let the tears fall. Then came the dagger. Dad worked all his life, and for what? A small pension and a rusty truck. Times have changed. I felt my chest tighten, my face burn with shame, but I stayed silent. Because sometimes, silence isn't weakness, sometimes, silence is the seed of something greater. I went home that night, poured myself a whiskey, and stared at Rebecca's childhood photos. I remembered her first bike, her graduation cap, her wedding day, and I whispered, "You forgot who raised you." I didn't yell, I didn't beg, I started planning. I dug through old boxes and found the land deed, 20 acres outside town my father left me. Rebecca never knew I still owned it. She had built her entire business pitch on that land, assuming it was hers to use. I spoke with old factory buddies, union members, church friends, one by one. They stood with me. Loyalty doesn't die with age, it matures. And so, piece by piece, I pulled the foundation out from under her, quietly, patiently, with the same discipline that carried me through war, work, and hardship. She never saw it coming. Weeks later, Rebecca's calls grew frantic. "Dad, investors are backing out. Did you say something?" I sipped my coffee. "I thought you said I was too old to understand business." Her emails poured in. "We need to talk." Her texts. "Why are people turning against me?" The truth was simple. My name still carried weight in this town. I'd spent decades proving myself, shaking hands, showing up. People trusted me, not her empty promises. Her arrogance had blinded her. She thought respect came from money, but real respect comes from years of showing up when nobody else would. And now, she was drowning. The breaking point came at a community town hall meeting. Rebecca stood on stage, pitching her big project. The room was packed, neighbors, old co-workers, even the mayor. She spoke with confidence, but I noticed her hands trembling. When she finished, I stood slowly, leaning on my cane, all eyes turned to me. "Rebecca," I said calmly, "before you build on land, you ought to check who owns it." Gasps rippled through the crowd as I held up the deed, my deed. Her face went pale. She stammered, "Dad, you wouldn't embarrass me like this." But it wasn't me embarrassing her. She had done that herself. The crowd broke into applause, nodding in my direction. In that moment, the humiliation she once poured on me came back tenfold, public, undeniable, unforgettable. Rebecca left the meeting in tears, her empire crumbling before it ever began. Investors pulled out, neighbors whispered, her arrogance dissolved. I didn't celebrate, I didn't gloat, I just went home, sat on my porch as the sun dipped low, cicadas buzzing in the fields, flags swaying in the evening breeze. I thought about the years, the sacrifices, the lessons, and I realized. I never wanted revenge, I only wanted respect. Respect doesn't fade with age, and dignity is worth more than gold. To anyone listening, if you've ever felt invisible after giving everything you had, remember, your worth doesn't expire with the years. I stood my ground, and so can you. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been betrayed by someone you raised or trusted? I'll be reading.